They laughed at me in that courtroom hallway. Not the nervous kind of laugh, not the awkward one people use to hide discomfort. This was real laughter, confident, sharp, the kind that assumes the story is already over. My husband leaned close to his lawyer, smirked, and said loud enough for me to hear, "She signed the prenup. She walks away with nothing." And for a second, everyone believed him, including me. Or at least that's what they thought. Let me back up. 3 years earlier, I thought I had married a decent man. Not perfect, not flashy, just solid. I was a school archivist, quiet job, quiet life. He was an up-and-coming real estate developer with big ideas and even bigger confidence. He liked that I wasn't impressed by his suits or his car. He said I grounded him. What he really meant was I didn't challenge him. Yeah, that should have been my first clue. The night it ended, rain was sliding down the windows of our condo like the city itself was trying to wash something away. I was standing there barefoot holding a mug of cold coffee I'd forgotten to drink when I heard the zipper. Not his, mine. He had pulled my old suitcase out of storage, the one I brought when I moved in. He didn't even look at me when he said it. "You need to be out by tonight." I asked him why, even though I already knew. He checked his watch, expensive, polished, impatient. "Sloan is moving in tomorrow. I don't want tension in the house." Sloan. His assistant. The woman I'd invited to dinner. The woman who smiled at me while texting him under the table. When I asked if she was pregnant, he didn't deny it. He smiled. Finally, getting an heir. That one landed. He knew about the miscarriages, the appointments, the nights I cried alone in the bathroom so he wouldn't hear, and he used it anyway. That's when I realized this wasn't an argument. It was an eviction. He tossed a thick envelope at me. Divorce papers. Highlighted sections of the prenup circled like trophies. He explained it slowly, like I was stupid. No alimony, no property, no claim to anything. Then he added almost kindly, "If you fight this, I'll bury you in legal fees. Just sign and leave." Security walked me out. Men who used to nod at me every morning suddenly couldn't meet my eyes. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I picked up my suitcase and walked into the rain with $72 in my pocket and no idea where I was going. Here's the thing people don't tell you about moments like that. There's a strange calm after the shock. Your body's shaking, your brain's racing, but somewhere deep inside something clicks. Survival mode. I walked until my shoes were soaked, until the city blurred into noise. I stopped under the awning of a closed bakery and sat on my suitcase like it was an anchor. That's when I opened the hidden lining. Years ago, I promised myself I'd never touch what was inside, a prepaid phone, a number written on a scrap of paper. I left that life behind because I wanted something normal. I changed my name, took a quiet job, fell in love with a man who didn't know who I really was. Or maybe he never cared enough to ask. I stared at the phone for a long time, then I turned it on. The voice on the other end was sharp, controlled. "This line is restricted." I swallowed and said my real name. The silence that followed was heavy. Then a chair scraped back and the voice cracked. "Where are you?" I didn't have to explain much. He didn't interrupt. He didn't offer sympathy. He said, "Stay where you are. I'm coming." An hour later, 3 black SUVs rolled up like they owned the street. My brother stepped out into the rain in a tailored suit he didn't bother protecting. He didn't look like the CEO everyone feared. He looked like family. He hugged me so tight I forgot how cold I was. "You're safe," he said. "I've got you." That night I cried in the back seat of a heated car while the city slid past. I told him everything. About the cheating, the threats, the prenup. He listened quietly, then he smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. "He thinks that paper protects him," he said. "That's adorable." 3 days later, my ex walked into court convinced he was about to win. He wore his best suit. His lawyer was relaxed, already bored. His new girlfriend sat behind him, hand on her belly, playing the part. I walked in last. Calm. Focused. When my brother entered, the room changed. You could feel it. The judge straightened. My ex frowned, confused. When my brother introduced himself as my counsel, you could hear the air leave the room. The lawyer next to my ex went pale. That was the first crack. They argued the prenup like it was gospel. My brother nodded, flipped pages, and agreed. "We're not here to void it," he said. My ex smirked. Then my brother continued. "We're here to enforce it. Turns out the prenup protected assets acquired before marriage, including mine. Assets my ex never bothered to ask about. A trust. Investments. Quiet money I never touched." The courtroom gasped when the number was read out loud. Then came the fun part. The disclosure clause. Turns out my ex lied. About debts, about shell companies, about loans stacked on loans, fraud, and the penalty clause he never read, 50% of marital appreciation, including his company. I watched his face as it hit him. The color drained. His confidence collapsed inward like a dying star. The judge froze his assets on the spot, ordered audits, set deadlines that made his lawyer sweat. By lunchtime, his bank accounts were locked. By afternoon, his office was seized. His girlfriend left before sunset, and that night an email landed in his inbox offering a settlement. Sell the company for $1. Walk away. Avoid prison. When he signed, his hand shook so badly the pen scratched. I slid a single dollar across the table. He stared at it like it was poison. "Take it," I said. "That's what you said I was worth." Months later, I stood in front of a building that was never supposed to exist. Where his luxury tower was planned, there was now a community center, a library, legal aid offices, real things. People laughed there, learned there, found help there. I saw him once, across the street, older, smaller, watching from the shadows. I didn't wave, I didn't smile, I just let him see what happens when you mistake silence for weakness. So here's my question to you. If you were in my place, would you have taken the company or pushed for prison? Do you believe justice is about punishment or balance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. And if you've ever been underestimated, dismissed, or told you were worth nothing, remember this. The loudest person in the room isn't always the most powerful. Sometimes the quiet ones are just waiting for the right moment.